Carlos Hallowell, um jovem de 17 anos do condado de Citrus, foi encaminhado à sede da polícia após realizar uma chamada de emergência às 6h15 da tarde.
Citrus 911, what is the address of the emergency?
4419 Southwest Sports. I need someone here immediately right now.
Okay, tell me exactly what's happening.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
Ele descreveu uma cena aterrorizante envolvendo sua mãe, Denise Hallowell. Ela foi encontrada deitada na cama com um machado cravado em sua cabeça.
Stay on the line with me, okay?
Okay.
Os socorristas chegaram e encontraram Carlos profundamente angustiado, pois sua mãe não respondia e ela foi declarada falecida às 6h50 da tarde. Denise adotou Carlos em 2006, quando ele tinha apenas 4 anos. Em 13 de julho de 2019, tanto ela quanto Carlos compareceram ao funeral de um amigo da família em São Petersburgo antes de retornarem à sua isolada casa à beira do lago. Lá, eles compartilharam uma torta de maçã na cozinha, antes de tirarem um tempo para descansar à tarde. 3 horas depois, Carlos fez a ligação para a polícia e disse ter encontrado Denise deitada na cama já sem vida. O inquérito foi classificado como homicídio para investigar a morte de Denise. A polícia está trabalhando rapidamente para coletar evidências antes de qualquer pista desaparecer. Na sala de interrogatório, os detetives questionaram Carlos sobre o que aconteceu, já que ele foi a última pessoa a ver sua mãe.
They were barking from my side of the house, which is abnormal. Our dogs are supposed to be in that little fenced-in area. The front door was wide open. So went to go find the dogs, checked around the property, looking for them. I couldn't find them, so I went to go wake my mom up to help me find them, and then I found her there.
So what did you see when you walked in your mom's room?
It was our axe in the side of my mom's room, and I could still hear her trying to.
Os detetives encontraram-se atualmente em meio a incertezas, enquanto buscam com rapidez desvendar os eventos que ocorreram na residência. Simultaneamente, enfrentam a delicada tarefa de abordar a situação com cautela, a fim de evitar causar mais trauma ao jovem que acaba de perder sua mãe.
My mom and we've been through a lot together, so, I mean, there's nothing I wouldn't do for her or anything. So, I just don't know what happened.
Obviously, we're not looking at an accidental situation here, right? Somebody put an axe in the back of her head. Who would have done that?
I don't know anybody who would have done that. All my mom's close friends, anything would be people in trouble. This is the only people that I know.
She don't have any enemies.
Not that I know of. She
would.
Kept to herself. So,
You guys are kind of out there in the middle.
yeah, we're in
Nowhere.
We're in the middle of nowhere. We just keep to ourselves. We put signs up because we've had small intruders, and then we hear noises at night. So she just puts all that stuff up for safety. So I don't know.
She hasn't had any problems with anybody.
Not that I know of. She also stays private from me as well. I only know what I need to know.
Carlos mantém uma notável compostura, mesmo após descobrir sua mãe falecida com um machado na cabeça, o que faz com que os detetives consideram uma atuação super suspeita. Por enquanto, os detetives concentram-se nos fatos e estão minuciosamente explorando a versão detalhada dos acontecimentos dada por Carlos. Assim, a polícia do condado de Citrus poderá, com confiança, direcionar seus esforços para outras áreas de investigação.
You guys walk in. You guys have pie. What did you guys have pie at? Right on the dinner table. Dinner table. Plastic plate, silverware, or no? We just eat right out of the box. We just eat a slice, save it, we save it. Because we're used to kind of living paycheck to paycheck because of a teacher and being a single parent. So we make things last, and she doesn't get paid anything.
Gotcha. So you guys are done at the dining table. What do you guys do with pies?
Put them in the fridge, and then we parted ways. We both decided to take our naps. She went into her room, I went into mine, and I watched a couple of things on YouTube and fell asleep and got up again and texted people and fell back to sleep. Usually we stay in there for about 2 or 3 hours to give ourselves time. It's our own separate time throughout the day.
So you don't know if she left to go anywhere else or something?
I don't. I usually don't know. I'm a heavy sleeper and I sleep on that side of the house. Her car's where the garage is, so I usually can't hear it, or nor do I know. I usually have something playing in the background to help me fall asleep.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember at any time what time you went to bed or take a nap?
No. The only thing I remember was waking up to the dog barking next to my room, which was wrong.
Did you try to give your mom any type of aid?
I didn't know what to do. I just shook her. Wasn't responsive except just breathing. I don't know what to do, and I didn't want to do something stupid or take it out. She needs to death or something.
Os detetives atualmente estão céticos em relação à veracidade das declarações de Carlos, dada a gravidade da lesão de Denise. É improvável que ela ainda pudesse estar respirando, como Carlos alegou, pois nesse ponto ela provavelmente já teria falecido. Os investigadores estão intensificando a pressão sobre Carlos para obter um relato completo dos eventos que levaram à morte de sua mãe.
So your mom went to her room and now came out and went back to her room again?
Yeah, she does that all the time. She'll get up, get tea, she'll get up, get water, do whatever. And she doesn't always sleep, deep sleep like I do. She's a restless sleeper. She hears everything. So she'll always get up.
The story's changing as we keep going. It just keeps changing and changing. Going from
What's
you talking about she went to you heard her.
Okay.
You said you went to your room.
I'm confused.
You said you went to your room.
Yes.
You closed your door. You heard your mom walk to her room and close her door.
Right. She was doing
And
what
then you
she
went to
normally
sleep.
does. Yes, she was doing what she normally does, and then I went to sleep.
So then how you know she came out and went back in?
That was before I went to sleep. I'm saying that I went to my room, closed my door, and I hear my mom doing what she normally does, goes to her room, and then she needs something, water. She usually gets water. Came out, got water. She went back to her room, never heard it up again. So I went to sleep.
O relato de Carlos mudou em questão de minutos. Inicialmente, ele alegou estar em seu quarto, agora ele já mudou o seu relato e menciona ter ouvido algo.
So you don't know if she left to go anywhere else or something?
I don't. I usually don't know. I'm a heavy sleeper and I sleep on that side of the house. Her car's where the garage is, so I usually can't hear it, or nor do I know. I usually have something playing in the background.
Sua narrativa é inconsistente e parece que ele está tentando mudar sua versão da história. Quando alguém está falando a verdade, os detalhes costumam ser claros e consistentes. Por outro lado, quando alguém está mentindo, eles podem ter dificuldade em manter sua história reta, levando à inconsistência ou acréscimo na história. Essas tais discrepâncias são sinais evidentes para os detetives.
So her room should have a cup of water in it.
I don't know if what she got. I don't know. I was in my room, so I have no idea. That's just her usual routine. This is going off of what she normally does, her everyday thing.
Her normal routine, but what did you actually hear?
I
Because
just
you,
heard her.
you can say I can normally tie my shoes, but you know, I don't mean I really had tied my shoes.
Well, she just went into the kitchen. I usually know she gets water because she gets dehydrated, and sometimes she doesn't bring it with her, so she'll drink it there.
Let's step out for a minute. Just hang loose real quick.
Cerca de 50 minutos após a entrevista, ambos os detetives saem da sala de interrogatório, deixando Carlos sozinho. Após uma pausa de aproximadamente 20 minutos, os detetives retornam ao interrogatório, munido de novos detalhes que descobriram vários meses antes. Carlos havia sido denunciado às autoridades por agredir a sua mãe, golpeando com tanta força que seu braço foi quebrado.
Not too long ago, you guys got into a little domestic. The cops were called.
Domestic? Oh, no. My mom and I sorted that out. That was completely gotten out of hand, and then my mom overreacted, I overreacted, and we talked about it after it happened and after I was out of the house.
Right. Was that before you left or after?
Before. And I wasn't doing well in school, and then we got into the argument, and she shoved, I shoved, back and forth, stuff like that.
Right.
It wasn't anything physical. It was just like, get out of my face, you get out of my face, get out of my face. This is just got yelling. It wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
She used to hit me pretty hard, sometimes in the face, mostly in the back, with just anything she could grab. That was it.
So you have like a special bat or a stick or something that you
No.
did just for that?
No. It was just anything that was close by. If it was my keys, she'd whip me with my keys, and that's it. And after the years, I just kind of took it because it's not really going to stop. But my mom's always been there for me still. So,
Is that the reason why you moved out?
Yeah.
Ele quebrou o braço de sua mãe, alegando que foi em legítima defesa, e deixou a casa e foi morar com amigos por vários meses. Durante esse período, ele começou a tomar medicação para depressão e gradualmente começou a se estabilizar. Somente então, sua mãe permitiu que ele voltasse para casa.
My mom finally got me on antidepressants.
Taking those?
Prozac, yes. Take them every day.
Working?
Mm-hmm.
What did the doctor say that he was, diagnosed with? Depression.
Carlos alega que ele e sua mãe estavam consertando as coisas e que ele foi recebido de braços abertos em casa. No entanto, na realidade, Denise estava apavorada com ele. Ela tinha um sistema de vigilância por vídeo instalado devido ao seu comportamento, e ela não confiava nele e temia que ele pudesse machucá-la novamente.
Carlos, how often do you think it is that somebody's sitting in their house taking a nap or anything like that situation and some stranger comes in and kills them?
I don't know, but I will say this. I hope you're not insinuating I would do this. Because she adopted me from 4. She has been my mother, has been by my side.
It rarely ever happens, and what I'm trying to lead to is that 99.9% of the time, it's a family member or a close friend or
You don't know anybody.
or lover or something like that.
Conforme a entrevista avança, Carlos fica cada vez mais inquieto. Ele percebe lentamente que não é mais visto como uma criança vulnerável que acabou de perder a mãe, mas sim como um dos principais suspeitos na investigação.
So I don't know what you guys are trying to get out of me right now, but I didn't do anything and would never do anything to my mother like that. As much as we used to bicker and get back at each other, fighting sometimes, and then peace, and then back and forth, and then peace again, never in a million years would I ever think to do that. She's my mom. I was adopted at age 4, and I've been with her forever. And if you're insinuating that, I'm very offended by that.
Carlos manteve-se calmo e confiante ao longo de todo o interrogatório. No entanto, quando confrontado com acusações diretas, ele começa a demonstrar sinais de raiva e preocupações, emoções que era de se esperar desde o início.
You're putting on a pretty good show.
A show?
Yeah, you're putting on a really good show.
A show?
Yeah.
How's this a show?
I remember the whole interviews with you back when all this went down. And I remember the CPT talking about how your attitude of things were very sociopathic.
Sociopathic?
Which is exactly what you're showing me right now. And you're trying to act like you're upset about something.
Trying?
Yeah.
So you're calling me a sociopath?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Não possuindo provas suficientes para deter Carlos, especialmente considerando que ele tem apenas 17 anos, os detetives não conseguiram estabelecer uma ligação conclusiva entre Carlos e o assassinato de sua mãe, levando os detetives a tomar a decisão de mandá-lo de volta para a sua casa.
Hello. Hi. How are you?
Enquanto buscavam evidências definitivas, Carlos recorreu às redes sociais para expressar seu lamento e convidar amigos para um memorial em homenagem à sua mãe. Durante seu período de tristeza, ele recebeu inúmeras mensagens de consolo. 9 semanas após o assassinato de sua mãe, Carlos foi convocado novamente para a sala de interrogatório. O detetive começou informando-o que havia inconsistência em sua versão dos eventos.
I just told you from the second hallway. I came in a days later, so I'm still catching up on some of the stuff we've had. Alright, so you never went in the backyard at all. You just went inside, seen your mom. Your phone was already on you at that point?
Yeah. Like always, it's easy.
Okay. And then you walked outside
Mhm.
and called 911.
I called when I was there. I was in the room when I called.
Okay. On your phone itself, it also tracks your GPS locations, so it can track your entire tracker in your yard. Because you're on the phone 911 for a few minutes, correct?
O detetive abre uma caixa e imediatamente percebe-se que Carlos está sentindo uma onda de ansiedade.
Come here, I'll see you. I know it's taken apart.
Is that the camera that's hanging up?
That was outside?
Yeah, it's facing towards the.
See, I'm looking for it.
Yes, sir.
I mean, the small cameras you said were in the house?
Yeah,
These
just
cameras outside here.
Ao inspecionar o telefone de Carlos, o detetive descobriu que ele estava perto do lago quando telefonou para a polícia, contradizendo assim sua alegação de estar no quarto de Denise. Isso desencadeou uma investigação mais profunda sobre suas atividades no lago, levando à implantação de uma equipe de mergulho para uma busca exaustiva. Logo em seguida, os detetives encontraram as câmeras da casa de Denise desconectadas e o celular de Carlos descartado no lago atrás da residência da mãe dele.
Your mom's phone, down by the lake. 3 cameras, down by the lake.
Okay.
You see how this is stacking up?
I understand. But I'm still.
And the only way I can help you is if you come up front and say, we got a fight, there was a total accident, something like that. But that's what happened, then tell me the truth. I need to know that because I can't help you without that.
Right.
Because without that, it's just something horrible got done, and you don't care about it.
Well, no, I definitely do care about it. I'm fairly pissed. It's just. It's not.
Because I can only follow the evidence I have.
I
I
understand.
didn't hit you before pretty much today.
I understand, but I don't. There's nothing that happened.
A polícia agora revela a Carlos que os dados de celular indicam que ele não estava dormindo quando o fato ocorreu, o que contradiz sua declaração inicial. Com toda a sua história agora desmascarada, ele decide finalmente contar toda a verdade.
I remember being outside at the shed and grabbing the axe. But other than that, that's all I remember. Which is why I also panicked, because I remember the last thing I did was grab the axe.
There's no doubt that you did, it's just why.
Right, I definitely understand that. I want to know that too, because I don't remember any argument whatsoever. Because I remember sharpening the axe, and then it's in the back of her head.
Apesar de Carlos ter explicado por que ele matou sua mãe, ele ainda parecia estar desconectado da gravidade de suas ações.
How long are we going to be here?
I know it's wrong, I guess you make them take that.
Okay, to take me
You go to our jail here and transfer
to jail?
Yeah. The jail here is just for processing. You guys break the jail up what happened. But you have a reason for what happened?
Well, no, I mean, like, is there any way of getting it exposed later?
That's worked up to the courts. I don't have things against it, but it's up to the courts.
Carlos foi acusado de assassinato premeditado em primeiro grau. Devido à sua idade, ele não era elegível para a pena de morte, mas ele foi julgado como um adulto. Em julho de 2021, Carlos foi considerado culpado pelo assassinato em primeiro grau de sua mãe adotiva, e ele foi condenado à prisão perpétua, sem a possibilidade de liberdade condicional.